So Connection Podcast Network fans, welcome into the most extreme Menage a Trois violence you'll ever experience here in the Extreme Three-Way Dance, both in video and audio form. I'm JT, and joining me as always are my very violent partners, Jenny and Matt. How you doing?
Very violent, like you said, as
Mm,
always. Yeah,
Just angry as fuck, man.
yeah.
malicious,
Mhm.
malicious even. I
Better
tried
watch
to
out.
decorate my wall, so I don't know if you can
Mhm.
see it, but there's a Paul Heyman turnbuckle.
hmm
And then this is a Hal Haney triple threat, which I highly recommend. It's a great print. If you go search it out, it's got the triple threat standing over the dead bodies of ECW. It's pretty sick.
Hot.
hmm hmm
Love
My
those.
faves. Yeah. So I'm pointing it out, but and if you're on audio, like what's he pointing at? But we're also available on video on YouTube, North South Connection. So if you want to watch this instead of just listening, you can see us make all kinds of faces as we go through November to Remember 1997, our final pay-per-view of the year 1997. It is our third one, our first ever November to Remember on pay-per-view. This is what, our fourth one we've covered though, because we had 94, 95,
4.
96,
Yep.
97.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So the hype has been good. Like I think we've been pretty looking forward to it as usual with these ECW pay-per-views. The card has been kind of a little jumbly. I'd say this may be the most sturdy card though that we've seen. Like Hardcore Heaven was really screwy heading into it. This one feels a little bit more kind of in line with what the stories have been pushed. We're also outside Philly for this one. We're at the Golden Dome in Pittsburgh, which of course plays into our main event. So why don't we head
Mhm.
and dive in? We are inside the Golden Dome. We have a raucous crowd. They're hyped and ready to rock. Joey Styles welcomes us in, sets the stage for our fifth annual November Remember. Of course, the fourth one we covered, but there was one in '93 that we did not do. Maybe someday we'll go back and
Oh
revisit
boy.
1993 November Remember. Joey says tonight is the largest crowd in ECW history and promises that this will be a November to remember. We get our opening hype video, and then we head to the ring for our opening match, which is an interesting one as Chris Candido takes on old Tommy Rogers. Fantastic Tommy Rogers. Um, sure,
Uh-huh.
sure. I
What?
mean, why not? Let's do it.
Actually, why?
Well,
And
Candido's whole gimmick this whole year, in addition
Yeah.
to being an asshole with the triple threat, has been he just wants to, he's going to put on the match of the night. He's going to steal the show.
mhm.
So let's just give me any worker you got, and I'm going to go out there and tear it down. So I thought Rogers looked pretty confident as he came out. Candido's follows. He's hell bent on delivering this classic, like we said. Nice little pop for Candido. Joey runs down the resume of both guys, including noting that Candido's engaged to Sonny. Both guys look great here. We start with a lockup. We get some feeling out. Get a quick flurry of counters. Rogers controls the arm. We get some early boring chants. Candido misses an enziguri. Rogers hits one to knock Candido outside, but misses a baseball slide. Candido cracks him and throws him back in the ring. Candido goes up top, but Rogers slugs him down, crotches him into the post. Joey makes a sunny joke as Rogers works the groin. It's a clothesline for two. Candido catches Rogers with a shot on the apron, tries to suplex him in, but Rogers counters with a suplex to the floor to a pop. Rogers runs Candido into the guardrail, then takes it back inside, goes to a seated chinlock. As Joey reminds us that Candido broke his neck in MSG a year ago, which is crazy timeline wise when you think of where this all falls. Like they were just a year removed from SummerSlam '96,
Right.
which is where Candido is in the neck brace. Like he's not even been in ECW that long, all things considered. And he
hmm
feels like he's such a stalwart now. Um, it's crazy. Tommy gets a Rana for two, goes to a chancery, but Candido slugs free, gets a power slam. Candido gets a vertical suplex and a middle rope leg drop for near falls. Rogers comes roaring back with chops, loads Candido on the top rope, and hits a big superplex in a great looking spot. Rogers goes back up, but Candido knocks him to the floor. Candido pulls him back to the apron, loads up top, and hits a Rana for two. Candido goes back up top and tries another Rana, but Rogers counters into a power bomb. Lance Storm comes in and attacks Rogers and hits a spin heel kick and stomps away. Him and Candido double team him. Jerry Lynn comes out to make the save, and he runs through Storm and Candido with a flurry. The crowd wasn't super into this one just yet. We'll see if it picks up because we now become a tag team match in a four-man brawl. So we convert on the fly. Lynn knocks Storm outside. Excuse me. Meets him with a springboard plancha. Candido flies into both of them with a top rope clothesline. Rogers goes up top and nails all three with a high cross body as the crowd wakes up. The ref changes about officially here to a tag match. We're up and running. Lynn works over Storm in the ring, but Candido comes in. Him and Storm hit a powerbomb clothesline combo. Candido and Storm bang heads. Rogers rolls Candido up for two. Rogers holds Candido for Lynn, but Storm saves, and then Storm hits Candido with a missile dropkick by accident. Rogers gets two. Rogers knocks Candido into the railing, puts Storm on his shoulders. Lynn hits a high cross body for 2. Storm puts Lynn up top. Candido yanks him down and wants to do it himself. So he climbs up and loads up the blonde bombshell, crushes Lynn with it, but Rogers makes a save. Rogers hits Storm with the Tamikaze. Candido takes him over the Northern Lights into a bridge and picks up the win for the triple threat. Rock solid, not the show stealer Candido promised, but still a really good opener, despite the confusing mid-match mix-up. Storm continues to do what he can to impress the triple threat. Candido gets a hard-fought win to keep proving he's one of the best. I thought Lynn looked good in his brief showing, and Rogers was fine too once he got rolling. If he sticks around kind of as a lower card veteran, I think it could be a good addition. I like this as an opener. Like, we didn't need to steal the show as the opener. I think this is a good way to just get things rolling. I went 3 1/4, Jenny. And this is kind of what you think of now when you start to think this era of ECW is like chaotic card construction in one match, out the other, like, no, like this crazy flow of things into the next thing. And that's kind of what we got here in the opening.
It is. Did Candido stuff his trunks for this match? Because he seemed super well endowed.
No, man, he's just pulled him a little bit tighter tonight.
I don't know.
He was excited about wrestling Tommy
He
Larson's.
was excited about something. But it the boring chants were funny because I was like, this is like a fucking mid WCW like match at this point. Like, this is not what I'm here for. This is not what I want to see in the opening of this show. And then it starts to pick up when that 6 superplex and that close 2 count. Lance Storm running in, predictable, of course. I like how Candido is very annoyed by him and kind of doesn't really want to tag with him, but he just kind of goes with it. And then they start getting a little bit more extreme and ramping it up a little bit. Then we switch to the tag. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Jerry Lynn and Tommy have a lot of chemistry, like automatically, and double team moving and just very good flow really quickly. As Candido is increasingly pissed off about having Lance Storm around. I like the finish, but overall, I feel disappointed in this opener already with the switch, and there's nothing about this that's stealing any show. But I like the pairing of Jerry Lynn and Tommy. So I went 2 3/4, Matt.
Yeah, this is a weird one. I'm kind of with you, Jenny. Super disappointing. I mean, this was a match that Candido said outright he was out to steal the show, and this just flat out didn't. It's a very weird match and a very weird start to this pay-per-view. Like, I don't know why they didn't just start out as this being a tag match. Like, if you're going to do that anyway, just make the whole match a tag. The match probably would have been better. Like, it felt like they were kind of stalling when it was a singles match, knowing that the tag portion was coming. And I thought the tag portion of this was really fun, but it was super short. It was like, 3-4 minutes. So, and then the singles match was like 10 or 12. So, it's just, it's a weird opener. I thought it was fine, but yeah, I just would have made this a tag match and gone from there. I think you would have had a better opener. And I think the crowd, honestly, didn't really care about this. I mean, you get boring chants, 5 minutes in? So
yeah, but I don't put much stock in this crowd. They aggravate me the whole night. So it's like, I don't think it's like, oh, this was like this. They pissed out the crowd with this match. It was boring.
Right.
I don't give this crowd much credit.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. We'll get into that later, how much this crowd absolutely sucked. But yeah, I went 2 3/4 on this, like Jenny.
Guess you guys just sound as fantastic fans as I am.
I see what you did there.
I did think Lynn looked good.
Of course, he
really shined. Yeah, he shined. All right, we get a music video for our next match, which is Mikey Whipwreck taking on Just Incredible. Fun little match on paper. Incredible's been pretty impressive early. Mikey, of course, always gets it done out here. Jason leads out Credible, looks pissed. Joey reminds us that Credible knocked off Great Sasuke and Queens. Reminds us, too, that Mikey is a Triple Crown winner. He said ongoing nagging injuries. He hobbles out to the ring to a pop. We get some Aldo and some Justin asshole chants during the entrances. Some good buzz. Joey notes both guys are only 23, which is kind of mind-blowing.
That's insane.
Think about it.
Wild.
Yeah. Credible hammers away to start. Mikey slugs back at him, shoots him hard to the corner, knocks him into the railing, meets him with a plancha, but he's already favoring his knee. Mikey hits a Rana, shoots him into the railing. Back inside, Credible comes back with a swinging DDT and seated dropkick, peppers Mikey and thumbs him in the eye. Credible slams Mikey and heads up top. Hits a missile drop kick for 2. Keeps working him over at strikes. Another low drop kick. Floats out of a whip. Heads up top, but Mikey blocks and follows. Credible lands a jab and gets a sunset flip off the top for a near fall. Credible cranks a chin lock as the crowd gets a little restless. Mikey breaks a sleeper with a jawbreaker, gets a super kick for 2. Mikey counters with a leapfrog with a powerbomb for 2 and shoots him to the corner, gets a top rope Frank and Mikey for 2. Jason gets on the apron. Mikey suplexes him into the ring, kicks him in the nuts. Credible comes back with a slop drop for 2. Credible heads up top as Jason holds Mikey, but Mikey slugs Jason down, springboards off Jason's back, and hits a whippersnapper to win the match and end Credible's unbeaten streak to a nice pop. That's a pretty good little match. I thought both guys had some quality work. Always good to see Mikey win, but I was a little surprised with Credible coming off the Sasuke win and his overall presentation. It was interesting that Mikey picked up the win, so we'll see if this starts a feud with them. It would be nice for Mikey to get to a feud because he's really had nothing much. He's either been injured or just had one-offs, so we talk about that a lot. So we'll see if this ignites something for him. But Maddie, I thought this was a perfectly fine pay-per-view match. I went 3 stars. I think Credible continues to look pretty good early on, and Mikey, of course, is Mikey.
Yeah, I went 2 3/4 on this. Perfectly fine match. Yeah, it's weird that they had Credible lose already, but like you said, maybe this is leading to something for Mikey, like some sort of feud. That would be great because Mikey hasn't done a damn thing in about a year and a half. So it would be great if they find something for him to do. And yeah, I mean, this is just a good, solid match. But again, I think this is a case where the crowd was kind of quiet during this. Like, they popped for the finish, but I think throughout most of the match, they were just kind of sitting on their hands. Kind of so far, 2 matches in, it kind of feels like this crowd is here for one thing and one thing only, and that's Shane Douglas.
Mhm.
So it's just, yeah, it's a problem all night, as we'll get to. So yeah, fun match here. Hopefully this leads to more stuff for Mikey. So 2 3/4 from me, Jenny.
Imagine not marking out for Mikey Whipwreck. I mean, he's used to better. Look, the arena loves him, and we all love him. So, yes, this was disappointing in that respect. But I did enjoy this. And they swerved me because I thought, you know, Justin Credible has been on this pretty big push, you know, getting a huge win, being undefeated. And I was like, well, you know, is Mikey just being fed to him like we've seen time and time again? And so when he does the whippersnapper and wins, I totally freaked out because to me, that's like, okay, we're fixing to have something for Mikey to do. Like a huge banner that says Mikey has returned and is awake now. And he looks great in this. I love this match. Like, I love it for what it means for Mikey going forward. So I did 3 stars.
All right. Joey Styles gets word from the back that Al Snow is in the locker room, getting a little ahead. We cut back there where Spike Dudley, Blue Mini, and Nova and some other guy are sitting with Al. Al has a shirt on that says Job Squad. He's yelling at a mannequin head. He says he could have been on pay-per-view doing a JOB or on PPV doing a JOB, but the head told everyone he was hurt with a dislocated shoulder. But this is hardcore, and everyone wrestles hurt. And while he's off asking why Al screwed the head, but it says head screwed the head. And so just like everyone else who wants to keep him down, Head called Eric Bischoff looking for a job without Snow, but Snow's the reason Head's over, just like he's asked to get everyone else over. He let Head come back, and just like the time-honored tradition, he said Head was allowed 1 shot, and he took it for the boys, and everyone agrees. Snow says he's a star, he's not crazy. Nova backs him up, and that's a scene right there. Hyper pushing this new angle with Al Snow, the Job Squad, Head, Crazy Snow. We'll see where it goes. I think we're seeing some personality. I mean, obviously we know it becomes kind of a big thing. We'll see how quickly and how big it gets. But right now he's clearly tapped in the brain.
I have a question about the timeline. Was this stuff being done on like WCW? Like what? I mean, like what
stuff?
I don't know. Like the Head stuff. Is this where the Head stuff came from?
This is
like,
it.
This is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah. This is the creation of it right here.
It is kind of confusing because it does kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah. To me, I felt like it was established as a bit somewhere else, and that I had missed that in this. I'm like, is this the beginning?
It's typical ECW where shit just kind of happens, and they show it out of order sometimes. It's like, where's it really starting? Yeah, it is a little confusing the way they just go into things.
I like it though, and that helps add to the insane psycho scene of it all. Just how it's out of nowhere. I love him just cutting the promo to the head. It's just it looks crazy.
It's something. Just his eyes, and he's got the
He's
hand
very
painted.
good.
Just help me across his forehead. Yeah, it's a look. He's got a look going on there.
Yeah,
I'm into the creepy stuff, so
it gets molten.
it does.
Becomes a thing for sure. Gets him rehired, or not rehired, but called back up to WWF. So, all right, Joey's in shock over what we just saw. We head back to the ring for our next match, which is Taz taking on Pitbull 2. The Pitbulls are pacing around the ring, ready for this big title match. Mr. Wright is with them. Taz gets a huge pop as he comes out. Paul Lee joins the booth. He tells Joey he watches too much Raw, and Joey says someone has to. The ratings are in the toilet.
Oh boy.
Pitbull 2 is looking robust in the waist, I would say. Looking a little Rubenesque, as Johnny Sack would say.
Oh,
Taz has a murder in his eyes during the intros. Paul hypes up Taz big time as Pitbull 2 attacks at the bell, lands some punches and kicks, hits a powerbomb and a spin kick and a top rope shoulder block for 2. Pitbull 2 tries a press slam, but Tiz slips down, hits a release belly to belly. Taz follows with a T-bone and finishes with a Taz mission to a huge pop. Pitbull 1 comes in, eats a pump handle. Squash City. Pitbull 2 actually taps. Taz can put the lights out in a blink, as we see here. Great use of Pitbull 2. Who gives a shit? Payday. See ya. Taz needs to keep dominating. Just a machine. We'll get to the post-match in a second, Jenny. Let's just talk about the match itself. I went 2 stars. I mean, it's essentially a squash. I think this is pretty much all we see of the Pitbulls. So I don't know if this was Paul's way of kind of, saying get out. But it was a fine ending to the Pitbull story. As much as I do like, I liked Pitbull 1 in the past. Like, I do think they kind of had worn out their welcome. I don't mind them here as kind of the delusional bodyguards for Wright, but I'm also okay if they're done.
I think I'm more sad about it than you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a soft spot for them, and I've enjoyed them hamming it up doing this crazy dumb shit. I don't know. They're kind of good at it. He does look a little thick, a little blown up, but Taz handles him well. But look, I'm just going 1 star because I'm sad. I'm not giving 2 stars for this sad squash, Matt.
Yeah, they're here. You want to talk about a hell of a fall from grace for the Pitbulls, though. Like, if this match happened a year earlier, like, you're probably talking like a 10-minute match or so. And the fact that, this gets a minute and a half on pay-per-view kind of tells you what Paul Lee thinks of the Pitbulls. So, yeah, 1.5 stars for me.
What did they do? What happened? I need to know.
Was it? It might have been a note from Rocco, or someone was just talking about it. I think they just were trouble. I just like trouble in the locker room. I don't know if people didn't like them. Brought a lot of drugs in, like stuff like that. Like I think just dealing shit on the side. So I think they were just like, all right, we're not worth the.
Well, that makes sense.
Which I mean, and that's something.
That I'm sad.
If you're like too much of the ECW locker room, that's
right.
You're probably way. I mean, and knowing how like Pitbull 2 ends up,
right?
He probably was a piece of shit, is my guess.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
All due respect.
Right here, Rhode Island's finest.
Yeah.
Oh boy, hometown here.
Found right in the apartment. All right, Taz grabs the mic. He says it's obvious. Wright brought his boyfriend with him. We see a jacked up dude with a tank top and sunglasses on. Taz says Vince McMahon gave Wright a present as the big guy rips off his shirt. Taz says Wright's boyfriend sticks needles up his ass and dares him to get in the ring, and he can see the difference of being cum drunk from punch drunk. It's quite the
Hello, sir.
All in. The muscle dude gets on the apron, but security backs him off as Taz tries to bait him in. He talks shit to a bald security guard, Red Hot Asbury. The security guard gets in Taz's face. Taz cracks him with a crossface and hooks a Taz mission. Paul's bemoaning under the lawsuit and demands we cut away. So we cut to some classic footage of Bam Bam Bigelow versus Spike Dudley with the body surfing. A pretty good segment. I mean, Taz is just a nut. We keep getting these big jack dudes thrown in his way as he's having to mow through and continue to build his, climb and climb and climb. This, of course, for those that don't know, ends up being Brakkus, member of our family brunch from Wrestling with Shadows, infamously. He'll have a couple of dalliances in the WWF, but doesn't really amount to much. I think he was someone they had plans for, but just kind of peters out. He's here for a bit, but
why does he look like the Terminator?
Yeah, I don't.
He really does.
Taz
That's
is really.
What I called him in my notes.
Really on fire. Really on fire here.
He is. that fucking come drunk to punch drunk. Oh my
Mhm.
fucking
You can't even say that on pay-per-view in
They didn't bleep
1997.
it out or anything. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was funny when Paul was on commentary. Roll to something else. And all the
No, another
panic
lawsuit.
chaos. That was awesome.
How is Taz going to be able to suplex Brakkus? That's what I want to know. Can he? Like I feel
Great
like
question.
Brakkus's joints
Stop.
don't bend, so like he's just
He's
gonna
made
like,
of metal.
he's just gonna like spike him head first, and he's gonna stay there like a lawn dart.
That'd be too bad.
Well, yeah. Is he dead too?
Das Brakkus? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
He's troll around somewhere, listening to disco music, I'm sure.
Rammstein.
Yeah. German. Smurfs in German. Maybe. Who knows?
I enjoyed the.
Oh my God! Sorry, I thought I had a
Alright,
perfect. I thought I had a perfect
alright.
segue.
You
Go
did.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I enjoyed the Bam Bam Club.
It's better be a hell of a point. All right.
It's not. It's not.
All right. It is time for our Italian lesson of the week. As the FBI are headed to the ring for our next match, and tonight's phrase is "Cazzo di merda."
Say it again.
Did you say murder?
Cazzo di merda.
Oh, mierda.
Di mierda. Costco?
Costco murder, I think is what it is.
Cazzo.
Cazzo de
Cazzo di
mierda.
Murda.
Cazzo di merda. You dick-faced piece of shit.
Wow.
God damn it.
Costco de Murder is my favorite. My favorite Master P album.
That's when someone took one too many things with eggs.
Yeah.
Returned all the milk.
All right. Let's head into the match here. It is a four-way for the tag team titles as the full-blooded Italians are taking on the Dudley Boys, the Gangstonators, and Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney. Tommy Rich is ranting at the crowd about how bosses from all over the country are sending him words about his great work. Of course, he's the Don. The champs are prepped for this big four-way dance of death. Joel Gertner does his usual big perverted Dudley intro. Joey makes a joke about Gertner's pants. He needs to get let out every 2 weeks. Sign Guy and Dick are there as well. Balls and Axel come in with chairs. They wipe out both to a pop. Joey says they're his pick to win the match. They keep up the assault and control the action with a hard double team flurry, showing off their improved offense. The Don gets in the ring and Balls and Axel line him up for chair shots, but he dodges and Dick comes in and chokeslams Axel. Bubba hits Balls with a Samoan drop, and now the Dudleys and FBI take over. Just full-on tornado action, all six guys brawling in and out of the ring. Joey says the Dudleys single-handedly blew up the Gangsters and Eliminators. Bubba gets a nice superplex on Balls, and Devon follows with a flying headbutt. Things settle down. We get Jack and Cronus out to Natural Born Killers with a bucket full of plunder and a big pop. The weapons are flying right away as Jack and Cronus wreck shop as expected. Just a straight-up gang fight. Bubba uses a cheese grater on Balls and licks it after. Blood is pouring all over the place. A mailbox pops up, gets used a bunch as Guido's thrown to the floor. Cronus and Devon end up alone, and Cronus starts to cut through him. Dick emerges to help his brother. Dick goes up top and misses a moonsault to a pop. Dodges a spin kick and chokeslams Cronus, but eats a huge guitar shot from New Jack. Cronus is to 450 and pins Dick, but he's not legally in the match. Everyone ends up brawling on the floor. Bubba flies into the plancha. Joey says, "Did you see that fat bastard fly?" Natural Born Killers is still blaring as Jack is in the ring with another guitar. Tommy Rich sneaks up from behind, but Jack kicks him away and smashes him with the guitar off the top rope. Rich is bleeding and in shock as he collapses. Cronus tries to dive, but he flies into a Bubba cutter, and Natural Born Killers fades as the Gangstonators are eliminated. Kind of a surprise there. The Dudleys take back over. Bubba almost murders Guido with a gorilla press on the top turnbuckle, which is ugly. Balls comes banging back, batters Devon, takes him over the top with a spin kick. Bubba grabs Balls in a full Nelson, but Balls ducks Gertner's powder, and Bubba eats it. Bubba stumbles over, hits Devon with a 3D by accident, and the Dudleys are shockingly eliminated, leaving us with Rotten Balls and the FBI. Balls and Axel wreck shop on the FBI as the crowd's heating up. Axel gets a slop drop on Guido. Balls buries him with a Nutcracker Sweet, but the referee is kicked by accident during the move, and out comes Jeff Jones. He counts to 2 and then stops because he wants to check on Finnegan. Jones kicks Balls, and Smothers rolls him up, and the FBI retain. Fun chaos, even though the spots were a little set up and awkward. The crowd still loved it. There was some unique stuff, some big bombs as well as everyone up the ante. Jones really wreaks havoc on the tag division here as referees. Really caused a lot of trouble. Balls and Axel are robbed again, even though they look pretty strong. I thought it was on the higher end of these fuck fests, but still a little meandering at times. We just need some structure in the division. It's a sloppy mess right now. It's just like kind of all hands on deck, everyone beating each other with weapons. Jeff Jones is the deciding factor in all the matches, so we need some kind of organization. But Jenny went 2 3/4. Like it was fine, right on par with the rest.
Can I read some of the dirty stuff that Joel said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He calls himself instead of stud muffin, muff stuffer. So the more you play with it, the harder it gets. I think he was talking about, he compared it to a Rubik's Cube. So big it's hurtner Gertner. That was my favorite. Wow. Yeah, I love the cheese grater spots and the licking afterwards. That's pretty sick and gross. I love Joey asking, could he possibly make more dick jokes? All the dick and balls in the ring. It was a lot.
Dick, balls, girders, jokes.
Yeah, it was a hot sexual match, and I think that is why you liked it so much. And it's probably why I liked it so much. The powder spot was kind of fun. Kind of different in this weapons melee of bullshit that we got here. And I can't believe that it ended up being FBI and rotten balls at the end. I like that. It's a little bit different from what we are used to. And then all the fuckery at the end I could sort of do without. So I did 2 3/4 as well.
Yeah, definitely on the higher end of one of these matches for me. I actually went 3 on this. I thought this was a ton of fun. I thought Joey was on fire during this match. Multiple times he just says, "How the hell am I supposed to call this?" He was fantastic. At one point, Joey says the Italians have entered the space program after a top rope splash by Guido. I thought that was a great line. That guitar shot to Tommy Rich was sick. He's just immediately just blood pouring down his face. I thought that was a great visual with him like convulsing and everything. Yeah, just a really good one of these matches. It's you get a sloppy finish too to a fun brawl, and I think we finally got a match that woke the fucking crowd up, which is always so. Just a super fun brawl here. So 3 stars for me.
Yeah, we'll see where the tag division is at heading into 97. I mean, there's going to be some payoff to Jeff Jones, obviously. You think the Dudleys at some point are going to take control of the division. I mean, it's crazy that they really haven't. When you look at the weak kind of crop of talent that's with them. So, all right, we get footage from earlier as Tommy Dreamer and Beulah arrive to the building. Tommy talks about his injuries and pain, how RVD is a better athlete than him, but ECW is his home, and he'll defend it, and no other promotional wrestler will stop him. We get video package to hype this match, and that is Tommy Dreamer taking on Rob Van Dam. Big time match, a long build up, all part of the WWF ECW war. Fonzie's boys continue to torment the loyalists. Fonzie and RVD come out to booze. Joey says he'll never work for the WWF because there's plenty of things he wants to say to Vince. Walk that one back, Joseph.
That was funny.
Walk that one back, bub.
Like it.
Joey says RVD's a sellout, and he hates him because he's as good as he thinks he is, and he's super young, but he wants a WWF deal instead of being here in ECW. Beulah's stacked as she leads out Tommy, ECW flag in hand. We start fast. RVD goes right at the busted ankle, pummels it, and as the 2 trade mat work. That ends in an RVD corkscrew leg drop. Tommy comes back with a DDT, but RVD bails out. Tommy meets him with a baseball slide, batters RVD into the crowd. Tommy crotches him on the railing, smashes him with a chair. Van Dam battles back and crotches Tommy on the railing, hits him with a Van Daminator, thanks to an assist from Fonzie. Van Dam rolls in. We see his eye is now bleeding pretty badly. Looks kind of gnarly. Van Dam heads back out, keeps stomping away, and posts him back inside. He hits a skateboard drop kick with a chair, gets back to the ankle before hitting a slingshot leg drop. Tommy finds a way to hit a hanging neck breaker. He hooks Van Dam with a tree of woe and hits him with a baseball slide into a chair. Tommy goes up top, but Fonzie smacks him in the heel with the chair and then calls on Beulah to come get a piece. RVD hits a somersault splash for 2. Blocks a Tommy DDT and sends him flying onto the chair. RVD slugs away, but Tommy blocks a split-legged moonsault with a low blow. Hits a DDT, but Fonzie makes a save by pulling the ref out. Fonzie smacks the ref with a road sign. The other refs come out to check on things as RVD hits Tommy with a chair. In comes Jeff Jones. Tommy comes back with a chair shot, and Jones breaks up the count, nearly messing up the timing. Jones punches Molyneux. It's Tommy and RVD botch a Miss Van Daminator. Tommy uses the chair, but Jones breaks up the pin again. He calls for a fight. Beulah comes in and kicks Jones in the nuts, and the other refs hit a double DDT. Tommy posed to a pop, but Fonzie comes in. He low blows both of the refs, but then Beulah hits Fonzie in the nuts. RVD grabs Beulah, but Tommy rolls him up, and Beulah counts 2. Tommy crushes RVD with a pile driver, gets 2 on another Beulah count. Tommy hits the DDT, grabs the ECW flag, and holds it high. Out come Furnace and LaFon. And then, to the biggest shock possible, out comes Stevie Richards. He nails Tommy with a super kick to a big pop. That was a great surprise. Furnace and LaFon put a trash can on Tommy. RVD hits a frog splash. Stevie, Furnace, and LaFon count the fall, and Tommy is buried under the WWF flag. After the match, they put Tommy on a table under the flag and call for Sabu. Sabu goes up top, but Beulah stands in his way, so Sabu hits her with a top rope clothesline. That was pretty nasty. Tommy covers Beulah as the assault continues until Sandman makes a save. He kind of takes a sweet time, though. Crushes a beer. He's sauntering out. Walks to all the fans. And that's it, pretty much. As we're going to transition to the next match. But I thought this was pretty good. I mean, it had a fun story around Tommy's ankle, but it got really wonky with the ref stuff. Like, the timing was very awkward. I just don't know why we need Jones in every match. Like, is he with the WWF team or not? Because he's been doing stuff that doesn't make sense with that. But now he's working with Fonzie, unless Fonzie just paid him. If you take that out, the finish is better. Like, just do Furnace, LaFon, and Stevie. We don't need all the shenanigans, low blows, and the refs. And it's funny, but it feels more like an arena TV thing if you're going to do it. With the heat and the anger this match has had, I would have liked to see more like a violent down the stretch versus like kind of a goofy down the stretch. I did like the Stevie return. RVD gets to win, but Tommy's not going to be done. The post match was intense too. They keep finding ways to up the ante. And again, kind of silly that Sandman just got saunters out to make the save. Like, he wasn't really in any, like, well, I guess he's coming for the match, but it's like, you think he'd get out there and try and help out a little bit more. So, man, I went 3 stars, which I guess probably would consider a disappointment coming in when you think of the hype build. But then again, Tommy's got the fucked up foot. So you can only really do so much anyway. It's kind of crazy he's even doing what he's doing. And I like the Stevie moment too.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. This was disappointing to me. Like, we've seen some of their TV stuff, and it was all pretty good. But I felt like on pay-per-view they could have gone even further. And I know, like you said, Dreamer's hurt, but I don't know. I feel like they could have done more here. And honestly, I get why they did the no contest finish, but I think we're kind of at a point now where Dreamer is kind of bulletproof at this point. Like, he's lost a ton. So, like, he could have afforded another loss here to RVD, and I think he would have been fine. It would have put more heat on it, if anything. So, I didn't hate the no contest finish. But I think I could have done with
just
RVD.
Don't do the ref stuff, and you don't have to do that. Just have Furnace and LaFon come out. Stevie comes out and kicks Tommy, and RVD hits him with the frog splash and pins him. I mean, whatever. That's fine. You can still have Stevie count the fall if you want the ref knocked out, if you have to. But, like, you just really didn't need to do the all the ref shenanigans. Felt like it was too comedy for this match.
It was too cute for its own good. They overthought it, I think, is what it came down to for me. Stevie Richards showing up was a thing I wasn't expecting, because I thought he was done. I did not think he was coming back. So that was quite surprising to me and kind of out of nowhere. So a little weird to to have him come back in this match. But yeah, I thought some of the moves in this were great. There was an unreal pile driver to RVD at one point that he sold unbelievably. Like, did he like spring off of his neck to do that?
Yeah, it's absurd. I don't know how he does that. It's crazy.
Don't do that. would be my recommendation. That's going to come back and bite you in the ass in the future. But yeah, it was a good match, but definitely disappointing. Like, I expected more out of this, so I went 3 stars on it too. Jenny?
I would agree with the disappointment. Besides Beulah, I think this is probably the best she has ever looked. She was fucking smoking hot. And RVD looking very good too. And they go balls out, and I like it, but the ref stuff just totally takes me out of it. I stopped taking notes at one point because I just put the ref fuckery, because I'm like, I'm not writing down this shit that's happening. I'm just like, I don't like it when I do that. It just takes me out of the match. I do like the run in. Was super surprised to see Stevie. He looks
Mhm.
good. Um,
I didn't realize how that he was kind of healthy again. I guess from
Right.
the neck stuff. I mean, he's gone from WCW already. It just went there in July or August or whatever with Raven, and his neck was fucked up, so he couldn't wrestle. But now he's okay. Like this whole year with him has been very confusing.
Yeah.
With what's going on with his injuries and whatnot.
Because I was thinking back, I'm like, surely they told me he was done. Like,
I didn't know he came
yeah,
back. Yeah.
I thought he was.
crazy. Well, I'm glad we're all learning things. So it makes me kind of want Raven to come back too, but
That's not happening.
No, no.
that's
Well, it
that-
does.
yeah,
This is not
well,
for a while. It does.
not
Right.
for a
Not
Yeah.
for a while.
Right.
Um, yeah. I like the beatdown at the end with the trash can. I thought that was sick, and
Yeah.
the flag and all that. I guess if we're doing that, but I did the 3 stars too. I really wanted to. I wanted it to be more or
Yeah.
less.
It was fine. It was just we talked about this feud. Like it's probably time to
Yeah. I was
move
just
on
gonna
with
say.
RVD and Sabu and do something else, and Fonzie and Lance Wright and sitting at Vince's pool and
It
like all this.
feels like this feud is definitely on its last legs here. Like this should have been it. I feel like.
Well, especially with Montreal starting, and now Austin McMahon's gonna be starting. Like, is Vince really dealing with it feels it already felt kind of goofy, and
Yeah.
there's no way Vince is really sending dudes to ECW to fuck with them. Like it already felt unrealistic, and now it's about to feel even crazier that there's no chance it's happening for real. So
You mean the Pitbulls weren't partying poolside with Vince? God
Yeah.
damn it. Kayfabe is dead.
I've always said I don't like it. I want to stay in our own universe and fuck everybody else.
I liked it for a while. I think they should have ended it at Hardcore Heaven with
Yep.
with Tommy beating Lawler.
Yeah.
And call it. That would have been perfect. All right, we transition right to the next match. It's Sandman taking on Sabu. Joey says it'll be the most violent match in history of the company. Actually, in wrestling, I think he says. The ring is cleaned out. RVD hypes up Sabu. Sandman keeps walking around. His forehead's already bleeding from the cans. He sets up a ladder and scales it, but he cracks a beer. Sabu flies into him with a tope and a hot start. Sabu hammers away. We head back inside. It's a triple jump moonsault, but he bangs up his knee on the way down. So he's slow to cover. Sabu gets up first, but Sandman throws a ladder at him and stomps away. They trade some blows, but neither can stay on their feet. Sandman throws Sabu outside and slams a ladder on his head from the apron. Sabu whips Sandman to the railing, sets up a table, but Sandman drops an elbow on him. Both guys are moving really slow as Sandman slams Sabu hard on the floor, suplexes him on the table. On top of him. Both trade fists on the floor. Sandman puts Sabu on the table bridge, but it breaks. So he hangs Sabu across the railing and buries him with a top rope guillotine leg drop. Sabu recovers and flings Sandman through a table against the railing and spikes a ladder on his head and dumps him onto it. Sabu puts Sandman on a table bridge, heads inside. It's a triple jump leg drop to put him through it to a big pop. Back inside, Sandman crumples on a whip, but pushes up and comes slugging back. Sabu hits a springboard body block for 2 and clubs away, but throws a ladder at Sandman's head. Sandman gets right back up and stumbles through a punch and falls to the floor. Sabu puts Sandman on a table and rides a ladder off the top rope into him. Sandman fights back but misses a top rope senton. He crashes through the table to the floor. Just a madman. Back inside Sabu, it's a triple jump moonsault onto a ladder, onto Sandman for 2. Sabu gets crotched on top and Sandman superplexes him into the ladder. Sabu throws the ladder into Sandman's face and goes up top, but they botch a spot and Sandman falls, so Sabu just throws the ladder on his head and hits a slingshot leg drop. Sandman, his head is bleeding and stabs him in the face with Sabu stabs him in the face with a fork. Sandman yanks Sabu outside and spikes a ladder on him and sets it up against the guardrail. Gets in the ring, jumps out, and teeter-totters the ladder onto Sabu. It really wasn't done well, but these guys have nothing left. They're clearly dead. Back inside, Sandman hits the top rope somersault senton onto the ladder, follows with another one. Sandman counters a victory roll with an electric chair. Sandman puts Sabu on a table outside and flies off the ladder through it with a senton to a big pop. Fonzie comes in with a cane as Sabu tries another fireball. Sandman dodges it and blocks Fonzie. Sabu hits a missile dropkick, puts Sandman through another table outside with a ladder off the top. Inside Sabu, it's a top rope leg drop with the ladder and picks up the win. This was as gross and violent as you'd expect. I found it tough to watch, honestly. I thought it went a bit too long. I thought both guys are kind of dragging to the finish and so broken. The crowd was up and down with it. By the end, you just want to know when to die. They were just upping the ante too much. I think a better approach would have been a quicker sprint of chaos with versus a slow bludgeoning. There's some fun spots that were peppered between a lot of slow movement. I think Sabu winning makes sense. Sandman can lose forever and be fine. So, of course, Sabu winning was pretty obvious. But I went 3.5 stars just because it was sick and well executed, but just too long and too much. And I would have preferred like a 6-minute fast, like insane weapons brawl versus like the slow death march that we got, Jenny.
I don't know. I think I was really into this because they're insane. Takes a lot of effort to do what they do, so I was forgiving of the slowness. The way they throw around tables and ladders and chairs, it's very, very violent in this match. Sabu is insane, and he's wearing sparkly silvers, so I know he's in a mood. And Sandman just does whatever the fuck, dude. He just takes the abuse and dishes out what he can before fire gets thrown in his face again. It was nuts, and I fucking loved it. So I did 3.5 too, with more love in my heart than your 3.5. Maddie.
Yeah, it's a tough match to rate. I'm not gonna lie. I struggled rating this one because it's like it's very sloppy at points and slow at points, but goddamn, it's entertaining to watch in like a I can't stop staring at this car crash on the side of the road type of way. And I it's very entertaining for that. I mean, these guys just beat the hell out of each other for 22 minutes, and I think that was another problem. Like you said, it's a long match, probably too long for one of these type of matches. Even if they had gone like 15 or so,
right? It's still long, and there's still stuff going on, but it's like 22 is a lot for this.
It's a lot. It's a lot for this type of match. For this tables, ladders, and apparently forks match, which they didn't.
Forks. I love the fork spot. That was amazing.
It's a TLF match, first one of its kind. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed watching it, and but like you, I was kind of wishing it would end because I didn't want to see either one of these guys die. So, and this is also a pretty infamous match too. And I normally don't do this, but I ended up looking up other match ratings for this, and I mean, I've seen like you guys 3.5, and I've seen people go negative stars on this match just because of how sloppy and which is insane to me. But it
to me, if you watch this with no ECW background or interest, you probably would hate it. Like it's like backyard wrestling. But I mean, if you're into the storyline and the guys and everything, you can dig it. I think, but I can see why someone would hate it. I mean, if you're just not into it, then.
So it's a pretty infamous match, nevertheless. So I ended up going 3.25 on it. It was one of those things where 3 felt too low, but 3.5 felt a little too high for me. So 3.25 made perfect sense.
All right. Crazy enough, we're ticking down here on the card. Taz interrupts Joey, says in a few minutes, Bam Bam Bigelow is going to beat Shane Douglas, and he wants Bamber to win. So on March 1st at our next pay-per-view, Living Dangerously, Taz can challenge Bigelow for the world title. So pretty cool foreshadowing perhaps here as we're setting up our next pay-per-view announcement, Living Dangerously, March 1st. Brings us to our main event. Bam Bam Bigelow defending the ECW world title against the franchise Shane Douglas. Bigelow marches out. Joey explains the champion is entering first tonight because he demanded to do so. Joey runs down Bamber's resume, Bigelow's goals in ECW. Douglas walks through the backstage. Joey tells us that Chris Candido is barred from ringside. Francine is on crutches. She has a hairline pelvic fracture, but she still looks hot. We get hometown chairs for Shane. We get a big stare down and a lockup as Bigelow flings Shane over the top with ease to boos. Bigelow slugs and chops away, but Shane comes firing back. Bigelow takes back over. He slaps Shane across the face and works the neck and back of the head. Shane again tries to come back, but Bigelow squishes him with an avalanche in the corner, chucks him to the floor. Back in the ring, Bigelow pours it on with a methodical attack until he eats a boot on a charge. Shane tries to belly, but Bigelow headbutts him down. Bigelow's back on the slow attack. He cranks a chin lock as Joey says Shane's off his game. Bigelow catches Shane on a crossbody block and power slams him for 2. The crowd tries to rally Douglas as Bigelow suplexes him back in the ring. We head back to the floor where Bigelow throws him into the post. Back in the ring, Shane gets a low blow, but Bigelow counters a suplex for 2. Shane is up, but Bigelow presses him high and drops him with a snake eyes, and Shane falls to the floor, which is a pretty good spot. Bigelow brings a table in the ring, shrugs off some chops, sets it up, and Shane puts Shane on it. As Joey talks about, Shane deserves this kind of beating. Bigelow goes up top, and Shane quickly hops up and powerbombs Bigelow through the table to a big pop. Shane starts to stick and move. He jabs the kidneys, but Bigelow cuts him off with a headbutt, flips him over the top to the floor. Shane drags him back in as Bigelow slowly stalks around. Shane ducks a clothesline and comes firing back. He knocks Bigelow over the top of the clothesline. He tries a Rana, but Bigelow catches him and powerbombs him through a table. Back inside, Bigelow gets 2 on a powerbomb and hammers away and throws the ref down. Shane is bleeding as Joey says it's rare to see a man handled like this. Out come Candido and Storm, but security blocks them. Bigelow press slams Shane into them on the floor. Candido and Storm get dragged away as Shane pulls himself back in the ring. Bigelow stomps on the cut and slugs away at it. He shoves the ref again. Francine gets in the ring and hits Bigelow with the crutch. Bigelow yanks it from her and swings hard, but Fran ducks. Bigelow jabs Shane with the crutch, lifts him by the throat with it, and drops him back down. Bigelow grabs the other crutch. He smashes Shane in the arm. Now starts to target it. Shane tries a backslide, but Bigelow blocks. Shane floats over. It's a belly to belly, but he can't cover. The crowd starts to rally Shane, but Bigelow hits an avalanche. He goes out and grabs a chair. Bigelow sets up another table. He drags Shane up, but Shane twists into a belly to belly through the table to win back the ECW World title. Out come Candido and Storm. Francine, they smother Shane and celebrate. So I thought it's a pretty good monster heel match. I thought Bigelow was countering everything Shane did and beating the shit out of him. As Shane tried to find any kind of opening was a good strategy. Bigelow was presented really strong here. He's dominant, but the match I found to be a little slow and plodding. It didn't really have that vibe of urgency and the chaos. Maybe this is one that in the ECW arena would have hit better, or maybe they're struggling to mic these crowds because they seemed alive when you look at them. And Joey talks about it, but the sound's not there. So I don't know if they're just struggling with these different buildings, but it didn't have that exciting in-your-face vibe that the arena usually has. It did have a fresh feel to the top of the card. Like Bigelow's booked well. It felt like a Sting Vader or Rocky Clubber Lang style match, where the big man just beats the shit out of the little guy, but it's a little bit of rope-a-dope where the little guy ends up just finding the way to win. The face heel stuff was blurry. I think that hurt it too because Shane's a face, but he's still kind of a heel, but he's also getting a shit kicked in, so it's kind of weird. Shane gets his moment. It shows he can win in the blink. I think if we had a better environment or a faster pace, this pops a little bit more. But as is, it's still very good. So I went 3 1/4. Matt, it didn't surprise me that Shane won in his hometown. It kind of makes the Bigelow thing feel a little Ronnie Garvin '87. Like they gave him the belt just to set up the hometown win. I don't know. It elevated Bigelow. It made him look good and put him at a main event level. But now it just feels like they only gave it to him just so they could have Shane win the title back at a pay-per-view in his hometown.
Yeah, this is a tough one because, and we talked about it on the last episode, they were definitely going for the epic feel here, like the Starrcade 85, WrestleMania, whatever type of feel here. I feel like for the most part, they kind of whiffed. I just think this didn't really work for me. It's very, very slow. It's 25 minutes. I don't think this needed to go 25 minutes. I think you could have shaved 10 off of this and gotten the same point across. I think the booking of Shane in this match really didn't make a lot of sense to me. I get he's a hometown guy, but he's still a heel. He's very hateable.
Right.
He's not a guy who's a face. He's just not. So that kind of took me out of it a little bit. And look, we all love Bam Bam, but I don't think he's a guy who should go 25 minutes really ever. He's much better in short bursts. And, we've talked about Shane too. This isn't 1996 Shane,
Right.
Shane's bulked up. He's put on a lot of weight and muscle, and he's not moving like he did a year ago. Yeah. So I think that hurt it too. So all that being said, I do think the finish makes sense. We all knew that Shane was probably winning the title back here. It does kind of suck for Bam Bam because he's a guy who never had this kind of run anywhere else. So he finally gets one and he loses the title in 6 weeks. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, I thought a lot of this match was kind of a slog. I gave it a bit of a bump just because of the title change, but this really didn't work for me. I enjoyed the 6-minute squash at the Elks a lot more. So I only went 2 3/4 on this. Very disappointing for me.
It is a weird one. I guess I thought they were going to swerve us and not do the obvious thing here and keep it on a big. I don't know why I thought that. I just thought maybe it's time to do something different, but I guess not, which is fine. But the booking of Shane did bother me because he was missing a lot of what makes him Shane in this. Which I like to watch him get his ass kicked, which he did largely, and he is good at that. But he is also very good at the other part of that, and he didn't get much in the way of that shine. But I like Bigelow a lot, so he got a lot of time to, even though it's a lot of slower time, I forgive him of that. So I liked seeing just casual dominance from Bigelow. He had all the attitude. He didn't seem scared at all. He didn't seem worked up at all. I
Yeah.
liked that about him. He wasn't scared of Shane or anything. If I look at it that way, Shane's, quietness in the match makes more sense. Like he was maybe a little bit more intimidated than he thought he would be by Bigelow. But also didn't get hurt, or he was hurt. There's some injury. Friggin' Francine's hurt, but she looks hot. So it is disappointing, but I did end up liking the match. I do wish Bam Bam had retained. So I'm going to do the 3 stars.
I wonder if they should have put Candido in this and done like a triple threat explodes angle, like where like Shane gets him in the match as like help, but then Candido starts to like feel himself a little bit, and then you could add him flying around and bumping around a little bit, might have helped things.
Yeah,
and that's like a better story maybe for the year, like the 3 triple threat guys explode after that being like the dominant angle for most of the year.
It needed something.
I think Rude leaving fucked it up a little bit too, because he probably would have been involved in this somewhere,
Yeah.
So maybe him at ringside would have added a little juice to it. I don't know. I like the show. Like my grade's going to represent it. It's just that when you think these ECW pay-per-views during this hot time, you're thinking 9.5, 10. Like you're thinking like these are going to be killer shows, and for whatever reason, when they get to the stage, it's like they're not fully clicking, and it makes me really wonder. Like, and
it's the
honestly,
venue.
I think the venue's part of it. I think part of it too is the credit to Heyman and the TV of how good a job they do of cutting shit together. I just think they show us all the best stuff on TV in such a way that everything always looks great. And it's like when you have to get to these shows where there's no cutting, everything's live. You're not just getting the best of the best. If a couple of matches don't really deliver, it's like all of a sudden your show is sagging. So that's hindsight. I think at the time, like these pay-per-views are great. I mean, WCW's put on really good pay-per-views. WWFs were getting better, but like if you look at 97 November, this may be the best show of the month. Like Survivor Series is kind of shaky outside of Montreal, and I don't remember World War III '97 that much as a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
but
it's not great.
I know it's got Eddie Ray.
Yeah,
but so we're looking at it in this viewpoint, but I think at the time this shit was still like, okay, this is still like a killer show. It's just when you watch all the build and the storylines and everything else, like we didn't get the one match of the night stealer. Usually we get that like show stealing match, hits 4.5 stars or something, like Furnace and LaFon against Sandman and Sabu, like something like that, where it's like really pops. But like, was our highest rated match as a group 3.5 tonight, and that was a fuck fest between Sabu and Sandman. It's like beyond that, it was like nothing else really clicked. So let's get to our awards, and we'll see how we wrap things up. Best match, I ended up going Sabu Sandman.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I don't think I had anything higher than that.
Worst match, I would Taz Pitbull. I just squashed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Best moments, I went with Taz murdering Pitbull to tied with Stevie returning. Just kind of that. Both of those things.
Yeah. Beulah's entrance, I would probably add.
Yeah, Beulah's entrance was good.
I also had Tommy Rich eating that fucking guitar.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Most 90s, and with Al Snow and Head and Job Squad.
That is very 90s. You're right.
Stock Rising, Mikey, Taz, FBI, Stevie, Sabu, Shane, I guess.
Yeah, Shane.
Stock Falling, Mikey's knees.
Tommy's foot.
Yeah, Tommy's foot. The bald guard that Taz killed.
Oh my God, bless him.
Jeff Jones, who's just annoying, and Sandman's brain function.
And
Al Snow's sanity.
Right down the Pitbulls twice.
Oh yeah, damn.
And so final grade again. Like I like the show. I feel like as we're talking, it sounds like we're super disappointed, but it's still it was still a fun show. Like I'm fine with it. It's right where the other papers have been for me. I went 7 out of 10. It's like they're all very, very good shows, but none of them to me like have been like a home run. I want to see where the big what are the pay-per-views like ECW's WrestleMania 17 or whatever? Like, where are those? Let's get to that.
Right.
So we'll see if 98 brings it. They're only going to get better at it, I think. And the product is great. Like, they have the talent, they have the mix, they know what they're doing. It's just I feel like maybe they have too much time between pay-per-views. So I feel like
That's
they
it.
peak, and then like the last few weeks heading in, they're almost like
Right.
running out of steam on what they're doing.
Just that pacing.
So maybe they got to wait longer to start the hot stuff. You know what I mean? Versus like
Right.
starting it right away.
Right.
Or I mean, honestly, for most of '97, the feuds don't even start. Like, they've been going the whole year.
Mhm.
Was part of it too. So
I was hoping during the course of the show that you guys could talk me up, but I'm doing 6.5 out of 10.
yeah, I mean, that's right there.
Yeah, I did the 6.5 too. I was disappointed really by a good portion of the show. It's still a fine show, but I think it could have been a lot better.
The TV's is better
Yep.
right now, and I think we saw that too sometimes, Jenny, with when we used to do the arena shows like a 94, 95. I mean, some of those would be really good, but also sometimes there would be 2.5 hours. We'd have like 5 or 6 matches that didn't that sucked, but then we'd have like 2 hot angles and a great match that carried it. That's why I think the TV for ECW is really where it's at, because we're legit just getting the best of the best most of the time. So that's why the TV is so consistently high and easy to watch. It's just like it's all their best shit constantly. So they don't show us stuff that doesn't
Great.
click or whatever, or if they
Yeah.
do, it's clipped or it's got music
Right.
over it. You know what I mean? So like it makes it seem better. So anyway, all right, we'll be back in 2 weeks. We're gonna wrap up 1997, which is crazy. We got 4 weeks
Wow.
of TV. We'll close out December, and we'll be into our next calendar year in a month. Check out everything at North South Connection has to offer. All of our content's at northsouthconnection.com. We have a lot of video content here on YouTube. Everything audio is on all of the podcast apps you can find. We're all over social media with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can find us across all platforms. Jenny, you're here every Wednesday with a show on the Jenny position, so that's exciting, of course. You guys also have some shows over on the Place of a Nation stuff too, so just search us out. You find us on social, you'll find everything we have to offer. So until then, stay extreme. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks at the end of 1997.